All yours, Peter. Let's rock and roll.
That sounds good. Thanks for everybody joining us this morning on our Chimneyscan training. This is elevated home inspections. Now, this service is all about how to add this ancillary service to your inspection company. Could it be applicable to other people and standalone? 100%, absolutely. And we're going to encourage you guys to participate in this presentation today. This is for, of course, people now, people later who will be viewing this and that are interested in adding this service. Now, for those who don't know, a little history on Chimneyscan. This was a product that kind of a product that I had in my head many years ago, and it came after the introduction of a product called SewerScan, and where we were showing home inspectors back in 2014 on how to add this ancillary service to their business and how we can be a game changer. And why is that a factor? Well, I can tell you. I've been a home inspector for 25 years now, having done about 7,500 home inspections. And one thing I can tell you, I rode the wave of business when we saw real estate going up and down. And I found that I had a business that was not completely controlled by me, even though I could market my butt off and make a service into a great product out there. When the banks decided to stop lending money, people did not need home inspections. And I found that my business went down significantly. In fact, between 2003, which was a great year for me, that was a peak year, and 2009, which was the heart of that decline in economy, I had 2009 did 1/3 of what I did in 2003, and that's a significant chunk on your pocketbook when you are considering, expenses, mortgages, cars, vehicles. And so I knew I had to make a change during that down economy because I had somebody that was deciding that I couldn't do as many home inspections. And so for guys who know, uh, with part of why United Infrared is this picture, well, that was a company I started in 2008 and started adding this ancillary service. In fact, last year it was probably over 50% of my annual revenue was doing infrared services. And I didn't want to leave that on the table. I was always a guy, and for home inspectors who give away infrared services or charge very little, I've never included infrared services on any of those 7,500 inspections. In fact, I found that the value was so big on infrared service that I made it a standalone service of its own. Now, that doesn't mean that my home inspection got abandoned. In fact, I still have a thriving inspection multi-inspector firm here in Southern California. But what I did want to do was figure out how I can grow that service. And so, of course, ancillary services would be things like pools and spas, adding radon. We don't have that in California so much, but we all have a sewer, and it doesn't matter whether it's a private septic system or a public system. The sewer was a great opportunity, and so I started developing a curriculum training on that because I found out there was really nothing out there, nothing designed for home inspectors. In fact, the kind of industry guideline was, the manufacturers would make this equipment, and then what you'd get is a plumber or somebody that would buy that equipment. And honestly, it was expected that they understood how to use that. So that's really what brought that on. And once I saw the success of SewerScan, we started the process purchasing Chimneyscan.com, and I had to go about finding the guy who was the top in the industry. And I tell you, I went through a few guys. I think I found that guy. He's on this call today. It's Mr. Jerry Isenhour, and I'm going to introduce him in a minute. But I wanted to kind of help you guys, understanding a little bit in, this, business and why it was important. And that's kind of a little my background. And, what we do with United Infrared is helping connect inspectors with products, and whether it's the equipment or the training. And our aspect is basically, if we can help you be successful and hold your hands on the way, we're going to make a difference in your business. And so That's why we've assembled a group here today to participate in this call and webinar and helping you guys educate. So what I want to do is lay a few of the ground rules today for the webinar. And keep in mind, if you are viewing this after, November 22nd, obviously of 2021, you'll always have the opportunity to email us directly. But if you have specific questions, I'd like you guys, everybody's on mute. I would like you to submit your questions into the chat log so that we can see, that way we can address and make sure we have time to address those questions that you might have. And any specific concerns, obviously you can talk to us about that. And then and we're gonna make time at the end for that. So just want to make sure everybody gets maximum exposure. You can submit your questions as they come up in your head. We will be monitoring those and we will address those at the end. And then we've got a couple of great speakers on today. Kind of just in a nutshell, what is it that we're really, and our goal here today is really getting paid for what you already include. So part of a home inspection is looking at the chimney, the fireplace, and all these features, but it's typically, I don't know any inspector in the country who is adding a fee for including the service. And what we've done is simply by creating an additional feature to that inspection, which is a video of the inside of that flue. We are going to show you how to capture revenue with that. And simply put, I want you to think about in your business is how are we going to double down? And, double down can be simply with adding these multiple ancillary services. Keep in mind, if your average inspection was in that $500 range and you were charging $175, whether it be for sewer or chimney, that's a 35% increase. Imagine if we added multiples of these, how can we double down our inspection? So that's really our goal, is learning how that we can add these services to our current business, and we're not as susceptible to the economy downturns that can and will occur. Everybody's got it in our head, hey, when's the bubble gonna pop? What point? How much will people pay for a house? How much will people pay for a car? We're finding vehicles with $5,000 markups. Just to go try and buy the new Corvette. Good luck. You're going to see what they're seeing is how much can we get out of someone for these products. And so do understand that when it comes to a home, people are scared to death. They are scared to death about the biggest investment in their life. This is no Corvette. In fact, well, you would take about 5 Corvettes at $50,000 markups per Corvette to buy a condo here in California. So depending on where you are in the country, it doesn't matter. It's all relative, but people buy products out of fear, and they fear simply that if they don't do it, something really bad can happen. So being scared and concerned, what we want to do is educate them and help them. And so if we can do that by adding these services, people will add. If you don't know, the home inspector is the most trusted person in the entire real estate transaction. And so with that being said, they will listen to you. And when you educate them about their home and these services, believe me, adding another $100 to $175 is nothing. So I'd like to thank everybody for participating today. And if you are viewing this afterwards, by all means, you will have an opportunity to email. We'll give you a link at the end to submit, or by going to chimneyscan.com, you could submit requests right from our website. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our featured speaker. It's Mr. Jerry Isenhour. I consider him a friend at this point. Jerry, would you say that we've gotten to know each other and gotten well? And his beautiful wife is on as well, and Cheryl is been I don't know. I don't know whether Jerry would ever say she's the brainchild behind him or he's the brainchild behind her, or they're just a team effort. And we're happy to have that team effort. And we have Carter Harkins as well that's on the line. And Carter is going to bring a wealth of knowledge when it comes to marketing and how to build this business. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jerry. He can tell you his background and kind of why we're here and how this can all come together for your business. So Jerry, are you here?
Sounds great, brother. So I'm bringing my screen up for here. Hang on just a second. So number one, yeah, Cheryl and I, we are a team. We each bring strengths into it. And our company is CVC Success Group. Tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the chimney service industry for about 40 years. I've served a lot of capacities. I've run a business. I've had a service business, which was a chimney service company. I've had a retail business, but I've also served a lot of industry capacity. I've been president of the National Chimney Sweep Guild for a period of 6 years. I was president of the Chimney Safety Institute of America, which is CSI, for 6 years, and a lot of other things. So I've been training. Actually, I did my first training for home inspectors back in 1984 in Greensboro, North Carolina, for the state association that was having a meeting there. And this has really picked up in the last few years. I've done 3 presentations for home inspectors over the last 2 months in Omaha, Nebraska, Niagara Falls, New York, and Las Vegas at the Inspectors Super Conference, and we'll be doing a whole lot more going forward. So 10 years ago, or actually 11 years ago, I actually became a full-time coach and consultant. So you're aware, I am a John Maxwell certified leadership coach, speaker, and consultant. I'm also a sales certified as a sales coach by Jeffrey Gitomer. So anyway, I connected up with Peter and Greg at United Infrared in early 2020 when we were doing a seminar in Durham, North Carolina for the state association there. And Peter and I were actually speaking at the same time in 2 rooms side by side. So Peter tried to outspeak me during that. We had a little contest going on about who could drone out the other ones, since there was just an air wall between us. But after this was over with, they shared with me they had been looking for someone that would assemble a training course for home inspectors to educate home inspectors in how to properly inspect a chimney. And that's what I started working on, which is their present Chimneyscan course that now is available to you online. And this is the only course that has ever been devised in order to teach home inspectors the skills required for chimney inspection. Now, there's a lot of other training for chimney sweeps on the marketplace, but this is the only one that's specifically geared to your needs. And I think I understand your needs very, very well. Now, as you're looking at the screen right now, you're just seeing a house. You see down there on the ground, you've got a home inspector, and there's a chimney up on top. Now, one of the things that Peter said earlier was about scanning the interior of the flue. But what we're going to encourage you to do is do complete inspections of the chimney. And we're going to kind of go into the standards in just a minute on this presentation. But here's what I want you to be aware of. You have 3 streams of revenue with chimney inspections, 3 streams. Number one is you can add this in as a part of your home inspection service. And I'll be honest with you, that is the small one, just to be honest with you. The number 2 is as a freestanding service. In other words, where you become trained, you become educated, and where you offer this to the consuming public in your marketplace. It is a tremendous service. It is very much in demand, and I'm going to go to a minute of how much in demand it is. You also have a 3rd revenue stream, which is as a third-party opinion without a vested interest in the outcome. You see, many times a customer is going to hear bad things about their chimney, and they would love to contact someone that can give them an inspection and an opinion of the true condition of that chimney and really does it need repairs. Now, in my business, believe it or not, I actually provide that service to consumers, where consumers do hire me to offer that third-party, non-vested opinion of what they have there. I actually fly around the country doing this, and a lot of times, and I work with architects, I work with insurance companies and other people, but there are 3 revenue streams here, and repeat them, adding on to your home inspection service as a freestanding service and as a third-party inspection. That's your 3 revenue streams. And then when Carter talks in a minute, he's going to give you how you go after this from all of these aspects, okay? You see, it's an in-demand service. And right now, a consumer may call a chimney sweep, and believe it or not, they're not going to be able to get their chimney inspected, catch this, till May or June. That's right, of 2022. And this consumer simply wants to know, is my fireplace okay to be used? And this is across America because the demand is that high for this service right now. In fact, the chimney service industry has never had a demand such as what's gone on since COVID hit last year. It has quadrupled this demand beyond reason. And the thing is, and I apologize because I see I have a misspelled word there, but the chimney service industry is overwhelmed and it is understaffed. And here's your next one. I want you to catch this really big. I recently ran a poll in the chimney service industry. And in my poll I conducted, it appears that less than 20%, that's correct, 20% of the gross income of the average chimney service company in today's world comes from chimney sweeping and chimney inspection. These are chimney service companies. Now, what does this mean? You can develop a relationship, a networking relationship with a local chimney service company to where when they get a call for chimney inspections, they can set that up where these customers will call you. That's right. If you network properly. Now, I'm going to tell you this about the chimney service industry. They want someone that's educated. They want someone that's going to give a proper inspection of the system. That's what they're looking for. But these companies, they are in chimney service companies. They are doing repairs and they are very backed up, and the demand is overwhelming at this point. To give you a little bit of the status of what's here. In 2018, by the research we've done, there's 82.64 million detached single-family homes in North America. And this number is expected to reach 84.69 million by 2023. Now, if you dig a little later, it's estimated that 60% of the homes have one or more fireplaces. In my home, we have 5 fireplaces. And there are also a lot of chimneys being used that have been in heating systems, domestic hot water heaters, and other things. Now, how many chimney sweeps are active right now to service this market? Here you go. It's estimated that right now, as of last week, that practicing chimney sweeps is 11,463. So what does this roll down to? We got 50,790,000 homes that need an annual inspection of the chimney. And these have more than one fireplace or chimney often. Many times it's going to be a heating system or multiple fireplaces or wood stoves or other things that are in the house that are out there. Now, what is your inroad for this? If you noticed a while ago, I said the word annual inspection. Now, where does this come from? There's a group called the National Fire Protection Association, and it is abbreviated to NFPA 211. And under the NFPA, which is a assortment of fire chiefs, fire inspectors, fire marshals, and other things, they recommend an annual inspection of the chimney, an annual inspection. And there quite simply is not enough people to service this. Now, this is what we would classify as a level 1 inspection under the NFPA 211 standards. And what does this cover? This covers the readily accessible portions of the chimney, the accessible portions of the appliance, and the connector, which is the pipe or what we call the smoke chamber. Now, under the level 2, now this is the home inspector opportunity because NFPA 211 recommends that anytime there is a property transfer, that means if it's sold, if it's involved in a divorce case, if it is an inheritance, that a level 2 inspection be done to the chimney. And a level 2 means we're going to now inspect the accessible portions of the chimney, the connector, and the appliance. So see what you're looking at. Many times the home inspector standard of care is actually what we would call a level 1 when I compare them under the ASHI and the INTRNACHI standards of care and what the standards of care are and your licensing in your individual states. But there's nothing that says you cannot step above the minimum standard. And that's what we're talking about here whenever you do a home inspection, that you offer a higher level of inspection of the system. Now, what this is going to involve is it's going to involve checking above the roof. It's going to involve going in the attics. It's going to involve going under the home. And this is going to be a lot of the places you're already there. What you're basically going to have is a piece of equipment where you can scan the interior of the flue system. Now, what United Infrared offers, they are offering the Wohler camera system. And Wohler is a very respected name in the chimney industry in America. But if you go into the European sector, you're going to find that Wohler is very, very big and recognized in European countries, because in European countries, the standards of checking the chimney for different things are under the law. In other words, in most European countries, you are required by law in many of these countries to have the chimney checked on an annual basis. In fact, some countries require it more than once because of the different things that are being checked. Now, also under the NFPA levels of inspection, you have what we call the level 3. And the level 3 is checking for the concealed areas of the chimney, the parts that are behind the wall where many problems may exist. And basically that level 3 is used in investigative work. When there's been an incident, a house fire that's traced to the chimney, they may go there. Now, a lot of people find, when I started teaching home inspectors, a lot of them have told me, well, don't you have to be CSIA certified to do a level 2 inspection? No, you do not. What NFPA says is that they recommend that a qualified agency, and what a qualified agency is a company with technicians who have been trained to do this properly. That fulfills the NFPA 211 inspection requirements. Nowhere in the 50 states of the United States are you required to be licensed to do a chimney inspection. So this is why this is so wide open to you. There is no license required for this, none whatsoever. There is nothing that you have to go to do that. So what I've tried to do in the course that I've designed for United Infrared, which is called Chimneyscan, I have tried to take you through all the things that you're going to need to know to do this chimney inspection. Like I said, I have trained chimney sweeps across America going almost 40 years. And this is what I do full time. This is my full-time occupation, is working in this niche market that's out there. These are tools that people will need to do this. Now, you're going to have many of these tools, but to do this properly, you're going to need things like tape measures, flashlights, mirror. You got to be able to see colors, because I'm going to teach you how to look at chimneys and tell by the colors of what's going on. You got to have a knowledge of what's required. And you probably have borescopes, endoscopes, infrared cameras, all these things come into play. In chimneys, we're also very concerned about house pressures and being able to read pressures. So you'll see we have pressure gauges. We have laser thermometers. You're going to need the ability to inspect above the roof. That's a very true factor. And now in today's world, you have ways of doing that with eye sticks that you can raise a camera 36, 35 feet in the air. People are also using drones, but you're going to have to, yes, you're going to need to inspect above the roof line in order to do this properly. And you've got to get your training and you've got to get the certifications in order to do this. Now, when you look at the training that is available on the marketplace, we have developed the Chimneyscan course, and this is the only comprehensive training for home inspectors to do chimney and fireplace inspections that are designed specifically for the home inspector, okay? Because I speak in the terms in this training that a home inspector understands. You can go to InterNACHI. I'm a member of InterNACHI, and they have a chimney inspection course at InterNACHI. It is very basic. I have taken this. I've actually shared with the Gramicos ways they could improve this. Okay. Now, from there are two industry certifications in the chimney sweeping industry. One is what a lot of you guys may be aware of, which is the Certified Chimney Sweep by CSIA. That is one industry certifications, but again, it is training you to be a chimney sweep. And we are looking at chimney inspectors. There's also the CCP program, which is a Certified Chimney Professional. And this is a part of the National Chimney Sweep Guild. But right now I am working with the National Chimney Sweep Guild in order to set another certification up, which will be an accredited fireplace and chimney inspector certification. Now, the key thing here is I said the word accredited because this is going to be recognized by allied industries. Now, the training that you take in this course, I'm going to tell you, that's going to prepare you in order to take that testing when it becomes available, probably another 12 to 18 months. But you don't want to wait on this. This is where it's time for you to move forward and move into this realm in your business. Now, this is, again, you're going to get all this from the chimney inspection, the Chimneyscan training course. I'm going to do my best to train you to where you can do this. You also have access to me as a subject matter expert after you take the training. So you can, I'm going to work with you. And if you need more advanced courses, believe it or not, we have them. So you'll know right now I have written 765 training courses for the chimney service industry. So believe me, I can cover your needs. But again, here's the whole thing. In order to take this to market, you have got to know how to market this. So as we put this course together today, what I shared with Peter is I need to bring a subject matter expert in who understands how do you market the service. And as far as I'm concerned, the gentleman I'm getting ready to introduce, him and his partner, Taylor Hill, have developed probably one of the premier marketing companies. I didn't say website company, please. I said marketing companies, because websites are part of what they do. But at this point, I'm going to introduce our next presenter. His name is Carter Harkins. He's with a company by the name of Spark Marketer. And so you'll know, actually, Carter and his partner, Taylor, actually, and myself, we co-authored a book some years ago that's on Amazon called Blue Collar Marketing that we did together. So anyway, it's my pleasure at this time. Carter, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend. You have the floor, and I appreciate very much you being here today. Turn on your mic, Carter.
Thanks, Jerry. I almost forgot that part. I appreciate the introduction, and thanks, Peter, for letting me be on today. You guys, you absolutely, what you just presented is, I think, at the core of what the real value proposition here is. And I got excited when Jerry talked to me about talking to home inspectors, because I really do think, and have thought for a while, that this is just an incredible opportunity for home inspectors to be able to increase revenue. And so I just want to walk through some quick ways, 4 specific ways that I think are just no-brainers for home inspectors to be able to leverage this new knowledge and certification and training to be able to just capitalize on a huge opportunity. So what we'll do is we'll look at what that opportunity is, what the strategy is, and then what tactics you're going to need to use in order to implement that. And I'm an out-of-the-box thinker. Jerry will testify to that. And I love to think about ideas for marketing from the perspective of not only like, what would I do as a professional marketing service for a company that was a client of mine, but also what things can you do on your own, guerrilla tactics, if you will, just on the ground, things that are effective. And so we're going to go through all of that as we go here. So here we go. All right, first thing, And this was already mentioned, Peter mentioned it at the top of his presentation as well. Add-on or ancillary services. This is, I think, just a no-brainer. You're already in the home, or you're already scheduled to go and do an inspection. This is a no-brainer to upcharge, to upsell this, and to let people know that by doing this additional, more extensive inspection, you're going to have certain information about your home that is not something that I can do as part of the normal inspection process. And that peace of mind is what you're selling, right? You're not selling infrared anything, you're selling peace of mind. And so that I think is one of the biggest opportunities to be able to increase revenue, but do it in a way that doesn't come with a big marketing price tag, right? You're already there. There's not much that needs to be done at that point. So we're going to talk about the requirements here, and you're going to see that as I go and we describe all these different 4 ways, these requirements are almost always the same. So be thinking as I go through this about what you need to do. If you're planning to move into this, and I think you should, then these are some things that you're going to need to cover. At the bare minimum, I mean, this is all about client education. This is all about educating the client. The more educated your client is, the more they see the need for what it is that you're doing for them. Home inspectors, every one of them that I've ever dealt with have been good communicators. It's just a requirement of the job to explain complicated systems to lay people who have a home and need to understand exactly what they're buying. So client education is number 1. And finding a way to be able to explain this new service is going to be a key. So be looking for that as you go through your training, as you go through the Chimneyscan system. Be thinking about what words you're going to use to explain it. And then you're going to be putting that on your website. I don't recommend just adding this as a bullet point list on your website, like with all the other services that you add. I mean, certainly add it there too. I recommend really breaking this out as a separate page on your website. Dedicate some time to really explain it well and show that you're differentiating yourself among other home inspectors in the area by offering a service that none of them currently offer. And there's another reason for doing it on a separate page too, and we'll get to that in one of the other strategies here. And of course, some printed materials, some things that you can put in someone's hand when you're not in front of a computer that explains why you're doing this, why it's important, what they get from it, what that value is. So you can see that the client education piece just kind of spills over. It cascades into a web page and printed material. All right, number 2, and this Jerry talked about this as well, positioning this to homeowners as a standalone service. This does require more heavy lifting in terms of marketing. You've got to set a budget for some advertising. Look down here under ideas. One of the first ideas I think is just running an AdWords campaign specifically to homeowners on the term chimney inspection. When people are searching for chimney services, oftentimes they're finding those chimney services, they're calling those chimney services and learning that it's, a 3 to 6 month wait sometimes just to get their chimney inspected. They don't, at this point, they don't know that there's repairs that need to be done. They just need to know, what do I have and can I use it safely? So, is it okay to use? So having that information is really what they're after. And if you're there in the mix, you're going to get calls and you're going to be able to book appointments because hopefully you can get to them much quicker. And this is a brilliant way to do it. So, but you've got to have a budget for that AdWords strategy. I think also emailing past customers. Okay, the cool thing about this is that this is something that they're going to need on a regular basis, an annual basis, not just when they're buying or selling a home, but on the regular, just to make sure that their system is being maintained and is still safe, still okay to use. So emailing those past clients to let them know that this is now a service that you've offered and that you can do for them. And you can usually do much faster than chimney sweeps in the area. I think this is a really strong message to send. You've already got a list, hopefully, of those people that you've served before. Getting that information out to them is great. Another thing I've seen be very effective is special interest or a news story, pitching it to local news outlets, whether that's online news or online websites or newspapers, but also the TV stations. Get in front of a camera if you feel comfortable with that, and tell the story of how home inspector, it's a natural fit to be able to do this service for people to make sure that they're being well served in the community, and that for years they're having their systems looked after to make sure that things are safe to use. So 3 ideas. That last one's pretty out of the box. All right, now number 3, selling into property management companies. I think this is a huge opportunity. I'm thinking like apartment complexes, right? Condominium or communities where there's a homeowners association. I am a big proponent of finding the big fish that gets you access to all the little fish, right? So if you can put together a presentation and go into a property management company and explain to them how what you have to offer is important to them because it safeguards their interest in the value of their property. It safeguards against insurance issues when things burn. There's reasons why they might want to work with you. And I think presenting an informal presentation to them through a lunch and learn kind of opportunity where you're calling them and saying, hey, I'm inviting several property management companies in the area to come. I'm going to feed you lunch. It's going to be a great lunch. We're going to have it at this restaurant. And then I'm going to give you 10 minutes of information about what it might be like to work with a company that can help you reduce risk and increase property value or safeguard property value over the lifetime of the property. So I think you could also put together a no cost. So in other words, the management company itself isn't going to pay for your services. The management company is going to, this is one possibility, again, outside the box. The management company is going to pass that cost along to the residents in that space by basically having a rule, a bylaw, or a just written into the lease. In order for you to use your chimney or your fireplace, it needs to be inspected every year. Okay, before use, it needs to be inspected. We've worked out an exclusive arrangement with this company to do that inspection for you at a reduced cost during the week of blank, right? So they've got a whole week, So I mean, you could get access through one property management company to 100 chimneys. And of those 100, let's say that 70% of them really are interested in using that chimney that year. You're providing a discount, but you're doing it in a tightly geographic, a small area, and you can knock those out pretty quickly. I think that's a huge thing, and I think that those details could be worked out with a management company to make it a very attractive offer for them. All right, last, selling into real estate agencies. You already know that real estate agents are your bread and butter. By mentioning or letting them know that you're now providing this service to, as part of inspections that you're doing during a buying or selling process, but also to people who are in their homes and planning to stay there, they need this service. And realtors who love to stay top of mind with all of their previous customers and anyone they've worked with on either side of a transaction, love to send those newsletters just to remind people, hey, I'm out here. And if you're interested in buying or selling, whatever, but just maintaining that relationship. And they're hungry. Believe me, I've worked with many realtors who are hungry for ideas to put into their newsletter, good, solid information that they can present to people who are on their list that would be useful to homeowners. And this is certainly new and useful to homeowners to let them know that one of the people that they've always recommended for home inspections is now doing chimney inspections annually. And this is a service that they can provide, and introducing you that way. Not a bad idea. And again, lunch and learns. I'm a big fan of lunch and learns. You're accomplishing, you're touching a lot of different people with your message all at once, and creating an opportunity in an environment where your message really permeates and is successful in getting out there. So just a couple more bonuses here, and then I'm done. Two more places that I think are fast and inexpensive for you to consider using to market this new service is online directories. Every place that you're listed online, Google My Business, which is about to become, or has just become Google Business Profile, anywhere that you're listed online as a service and people can find out about you and contact you, make sure that you're listing this as a service. Make sure, people forget that when they bring on a new product or a service, they forget to go and update those listings. So it's quick, easy place to do it. It's good exposure for you. And the last is a little more costly, but I love Facebook ads because they can be so targeted and they are much less of a cost than the traditional AdWords play. And we manage these for clients all the time and are generally able to spend a lot less money and get a lot more traction just through presenting special offers and presenting good, solid information to consumers who are interested. So I think Facebook ads are a great play too. So that's it.
Okay, so Carter, I appreciate it, and so everybody looks, if you look on the screen right now, Carter just took it down, but it's carter@sparkmarketer.com, or you can look up their website. So like I said, this is something that a progressive website company should be able to assist you with. He gave you a lot of different realms there. So Carter, let me ask you a question. You deal with a lot of the same people I do. When I make the statement that chimney service companies are severely overwhelmed and cannot get to people for months, is that a true statement in your opinion from what you see from the marketing side?
Absolutely. We work with hundreds of chimney service companies across the United States. The biggest problem every one of them has is not how do I get more business? It's how do I find good people to hire in order to get to all the business that I've got? And most of them are backed up. And they're frustrated because of that. They would love to be able to get to the repair work that's behind that initial inspection, because most of them use an inspection as a way to get into the home, but they can't do it, and they just don't have time, and so things get so backed up. So yeah, I think I didn't mention that one as a strategy because I figured that would be a large part of what everyone was talking about on this call. So I didn't really mention that, but absolutely, I think there's opportunity to educate and work with a chimney service company to show them how you can be the person that gets in the door, to show them that there are issues, and then make a recommendation to them to be able to handle the repair side.
Right, like I had mentioned further, chimney service people want to refer people that are trained. Let me make that really clear. I will even bet you that if you tell a chimney sweep in your market area and you tell them you've attended training that I have presented, Carter, do you think that would give them an inroad just by using my name, that they've gotten training from me in this industry?
Absolutely. You're one of the leading trainers in the industry.
Correct. So that's another way. Now, Tom Hunkel brought up an interesting question, because this is going to be part of what you're going to face. Now, some chimneys can be inspected and are not really dirty. That's just the way it is. But you're also going to encounter some challenges. One could be a chimney that has been excessively used. It has severe builds up of creosote. And we're talking about not just a thin coating, I'm talking about inches and inches, or from a chimney fire that can clog the chimney. So there's going to take some that are going to have to require chimney sweeping. And this could be where you may have to refer someone else. But I'll also share this with you. I have worked with several home inspectors in the US that have actually branched in and have started a chimney service company doing chimney sweeping. Now, if you're going to do that, my high suggestion is that you make sure you're doing that right. You're joining the National Chimney Sweep Guild, which is a trade association. You're getting the certifications beyond what we're offering here and go into it full bore. But yes, but the same thing is there's many chimneys that I'm going to be able to inspect without sweeping the chimney. In fact, in my investigative work, we often inspect the chimney because a dirty chimney actually tells me something that I'm going to teach you in the training that you're not going to see once the chimney has been swept. So you want to be aware that's why you're going to get into this. You're also going to find cases where you may go and it has what we call a fireplace insert, which is a wood stove inserted into the fireplace. And it may or may not have a connector pipe that runs up through the chimney. These are the things, again, this is why you need the training to identify this, because I cover all of this in the training. But yeah, you're going to have to recognize what do you stop at and what do you do when you reach these things. And that's what I've tried to do in the course we prepared for you here, with the Chimneyscan course. Now, that's all the questions I've seen, Peter. Can you think of any questions that a home inspector would have?
Well, let me further just comment on Thomas's question or concern is, and you're not the first one to ask that, as far as if we have a chimney that is excessively sooted and creosote buildup, and what are we going to see? So I want you to understand and think about currently our perspective of a chimney inspection is it's part of the home inspection, and that's why in my initial slide I mentioned the fact that you know. Get paid for what you're already doing, because by simply creating as Carter mentioned, as putting a page on your website and announcing this service and marketing this service, you are marketing a service that's going to yield a return, and that's a dollar figure for your company. And so you know first thing is having that service, you are going to have limitations, and keep in mind our entire inspection process has limitations. We show up in the dining room, it has a hutch in front of the wall. Obviously you're not going to move that wall, but what we do have when we have the soot is we have a more enhanced reportable condition, and it's going to be a section of your inspection report. Just like when I go into sewers, I have situations where I've gone in 6 feet into a sewer and I can't go any further because of root buildup. Well, the client paid me to tell them what's going on. That's a reportable condition that ends up getting negotiated in the real estate contract. And the end result is now the buyer has a stronger hand and saying, hey, you have a problem in this chimney. There's excessive soot. You didn't clean it. Your lack of maintenance. Now we want you to get a full chimney sweep. And if there's anything else, the seller would then do that. Same thing as on a sewer. When I do a sewer inspection, I only get in 5 to 7 feet. I'm going to say you need to root that and then have a complete new video of this. But that's going to be on the seller, not on the buyer. And that's the big advantages. So takeaway on this is that you're gonna, through going through the Chimneyscan training course, you're gonna do a better inspection, hands down, period. You're going to be able to partner with chimney contractors who apparently are next 3-4 months out on getting an inspection, and so it's not going to be done during the contingency period. Home inspectors are the ideal case, and I think that as Jerry mentioned, that this is hands down the strongest and best course that's available for inspectors out there. And I'm going to give you some insight, on doing that. But as far as questions for inspectors, most guys that we've had over the years have said, I have to be CSIA certified. Well, Jerry dispelled that rumor, and he told you exactly where we get our information from is an NFPA 211, which is the standard that says that you're not only supposed to be doing this every time a house transfers in a sale, but as well annually. And that's a service that home inspectors do not currently have. Our reoccurring revenue is the 5 to 7 year. Imagine having a service that you can do annually now, and that can add to your thing. In fact, being on the road with Jerry over the last few months, as far as we are learning from each other about each other's industries, and Jerry mentioned about carpet cleaners. And it's just stuck in my head of, wow, why, what does a carpet cleaner do? How many services do they offer? And I'll let Jerry kind of answer that. But as home inspectors, when I started this webinar and talked about, what was my mistake in the industry, is that I chose a profession that I had no control over. That meant that when the banks decided to stop lending money, people didn't need me. And so by expanding your services that you offer in your business is going to allow you to, number one, have that additional revenue when times might not be as good. And I've proven that with the infrared. I was able to make up revenue. Although I lost 2/3 of my business in the home inspection, I gained back a good portion of that just doing infrared. So, don't think that because you get in that flue and it's excessively dirty that you can't do it. You're still doing your job. You're telling the buyer that you have an excessive creosote in the chimney and that will need cleaning, but you're still got other aspects. You got your firebox, you've got your hearth, your mantles, your exterior of the fireplace, the caps, the crowns, the spark arresters. So anyway, so that, I think that it's a great question and something that we do, I've had multiple people ask that, but I don't think it inhibits your ability to capture revenue or offer a service.
Okay. So we've had a couple questions come up, Peter, in the comment bar while you were talking. And the first question is from Matt. And he said, just for clarity, the training you offer is to perform level 2 inspections. No, the training I am offering you is to do everything up to and including a level 2. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. It's a lot of times it would really surprise you if I were on a job site with you and the chimney was there, because believe it or not, I can look at a chimney from the ground. I can gauge the condition of the chimney by different colors, the coloration of what's going on, and actually predict what is wrong with the chimney. That once we take a video scan with the roller camera and go inside, I can actually tell you, we've got bad joints between the flue tiles. We're going to have a smoke chamber that is damaged. We're going to have a firebox that's deteriorated. These are all the things that I'm going to teach you in this course that you're looking at as you walk up to this chimney. Now, have you got to have the camera to do the in-depth inspection and go inside? Yes, sir. Now, in my background, this is one of the technical journals that I have written some years ago, which I have written a lot in my lifetime. And this is all about chimney fires. And in this, I do a study of water entry issues, which is the most deteriorating factor that goes on with chimneys. We talk about freeze thaw, but we talk about the things that you're going to look at, the things that are missing on many chimneys that alert us we have a water entry issue, we have freeze thaw issues, settlement issues. So am I teaching you how to do a level 2? Yes. But am I teaching you much more? Yes, by far, vastly beyond what you would expect that's spelled out in NFPA 211 under the 3 standards. Now, there's also a question here about, what would be the cost? And this is my answer. You got to charge more than it costs you to provide it. And the cost factor is going to vary depending on where you're at in the country, because a dollar varies. I do not want to be involved in telling you this is what you can charge. I can tell you that in the chimney service industry, an inspection of a chimney, I can show you areas that it may be sold for $69 to $99. I can also show you people that are getting $400 to $500 for a simple level 2 inspection. Okay, so it's going to vary. It's going to depend on how well you market your services. It's just like if I ask Carter, how much does a website cost? I'm sure Carter could tell me that, hey, a website could cost you $50 a month, or it could cost you $5,000 a month, depending upon the value that you offer in that inspection. So again, you've got to know your cost of doing business, and you have to set the services at a cost, at a price that you can be comfortable with charging. Okay, it says here, is there testing at the end of the current course for those to establish the knowledge retained from the course? Yes, there is testing in this course. Am I correct? Didn't we put testing in, Peter?
Yes, there's an exam at the end. You're going to have a certification as a Chimneyscan certified inspector. So you'll be able to utilize that logo on your marketing, on your website. So yeah, we're going to actually be not only with that, but you're going to have access to Jerry. And I think that that's going to be a key point so that those questions keep coming in, even after the course. Our hopes, and one of the advantages of the online training format, and we will also do live of this course, but we do what's called a hybrid, where people will have full access to the online, and when we do live, we usually a lot of times focus on the meat and potatoes of the inspection, which is a lot of questions like we're getting today, is selling the service. It's just to reiterate something about what to charge for a service, is that, yeah, Jerry said, guys, it'll vary between $69 and $500. There's a couple things that weren't mentioned there, but I want to make sure you guys understand. Anybody who's in that $99, $69 range, they are motivated by that sale. How many times have you ever seen a service given for free? I'll clear any sewer line for $99. They're not interested in $99. They're interested in what caused that problem. The chimney guy who might offer a $69 service is because he's trying to generate more service work. So in our case, we're working for the buyer of the property, which means that we have an unbiased review. We are not motivated by any service work. We are motivated simply by our inspection fee, which is priced accordingly in the industry. And yeah, Jerry said that will vary throughout. But if we use that general rule of thumb, that's going to be $100 to $200, like after you discount it or whatever, because this is not your primary service. This is a secondary service on the inspection, but it brings your inspection fee up. So the unbiased approach is really where you're going to have a take in this industry, and partnering with these chimney companies as standalone inspections is going to be a big thing, because these guys are interested you're going to be their number one marketing, and it's not going to cost them a dime. All it's going to cost them is the referral to somebody who can do this, and they're going to stand by you and help you and be your partner in this business. And so that's one of the goals that me and Jerry have together, is to help further align these two industries. So because we are a beautiful addition to the chimney industry, those contractors, and 95% of their work is service related. They want to do the repairs, and we're going to be driving that business source for them.
Right. As you look there, there's also another question, which is about the certificate. Is this going to provide you the training to take a certification course? And I mentioned earlier, and so everyone's aware, I actually train chimney sweeps right now. I have a basic chimney sweep training course that's 16 hours that prepares people for both the CCP and the CSIA certification testing for chimney sweeping. Again, that's what I'm waiting to see when the NCSG rolls out their fireplace and chimney inspection certification. When that comes out, I need to see what the criteria is, but I can guarantee you that I will be providing the training in order to get to any of these certification marks, because I'm really excited over what the NCSG, which is short for National Chimney Sweep Guild, is doing as far as this accreditation, because that means it's going to be recognized by ANSI and other certification bodies. Or you're going to get a certification when you complete the Chimneyscan course that says you've been through this course. But like I tell everybody, training is something that's got to be ongoing. Am I going to turn you in a chimney expert in a 12-hour course? I can't do that. But can I train you on an ongoing basis? Yes, we can provide that past the initial Chimneyscan training. When you need more, can we provide that? Yes.
All right. Well, I really, coming down, you guys have had some great questions, and there's going to be a lot of people that'll get a link to this, training in over time. And I just want to thank you guys for participating today, and just so that we can honor everybody's time. Just want to close out with a few slides, and just, questions when it comes down to what kind of equipment is used. And what you see on the two images on the left are are a chimney camera that's dedicated just for doing chimney inspections. And then you could do this as a bottom up or top down type of chimney inspection. There is a standard definition on the far left, a high definition sewer camera or chimney camera on the left middle, and then on the right would be sewer cameras. And by simply adding, and one of the neat things about the Wohler product, and especially with the pan and tilt, which is basically the cat's meow, because it allows you to see more in depth or closer up to areas. Instead of looking at a straight down camera, you can rotate that camera head. And so we have abilities to convert sewer cameras into chimney cameras with the addition of a features. So instead of spending another $4,000 to $6,000 on another product, you can spend a couple $1,000s and use one product for both things. So that's a great thing to know. And you know, just want to make sure if anybody finds interest with this, our course fee, which is $595 for the Chimneyscan training. If you have a QR code reader on your phone, you can simply scan this and it'll go right to the product and take advantage of that. Now, 100% of that course fee can fully be credited towards the purchase of a chimney camera. And should you choose to do a sewer camera, you can call our office and we can tell you the ways where that training can be absolutely free as part of that. So I really thank everybody for participating today. We're at the top of the hour now, so we're basically had our time. And I really like to take the time to thank Jerry, Carter, and Cheryl for being a part of this presentation today. You guys have done a wonderful presentation that we've kind of put into that 1 hour. Carter, you just had some amazing insights for marketing businesses, and I'm right on line with you. And I tell you, I've had extreme success with the free marketing, which is posting to your news outlets. I've successfully done this like 4 or 5 times now, where I've been on the news. And if you guys follow metrics on your computer, you know, and see what marketing can do when you get on the news, it is the best. Free, you take advantage of it. So I think you had some really good USPs on marketing your business, and Jerry, some great insights and cut to the chase, NFPA 211 and what it takes to do inspections. And Cheryl's been running the master mouse behind this, and thank you for your time. So anybody, any final words? Okay, well, I guess either people are on mute or unmute, but I just think that we've got an amazing setup here, and I thank everybody for their time today. And if there's any questions, I had the email on the last previous slide, was just info@unitedinfrared.com, and we're happy, or you can call our office 888-722-6447. And then Jerry, your direct contact, Carter, again.
Okay, I am Jerry, Jerry, at cbcsuccessgroup.com.
Thank you,
And
Jerry.
I'm just
Carter
at sparkmarketer.com.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's been a wonderful 1 hour. I hope everybody's been, it made a difference for your business, or will make a difference for your business. We're here to help. This is Peter Hopkins from United Infrared. Thank you, guys.